So I did a thing online and ordered like $800 worth of stuff for the Saleen. Here's a quick glimpse of what it is. That's all you get. Most of these are not performance parts, and they're factory Ford parts, but they're not factory Ford parts that would have came on the 86 Saleen. Huh. That's interesting. I told you, it's not fancy and it's not super aftermarket. They're just factory. So what's happening is this is an 87 through 93 front rotor from a GT. So it is 1 inch bigger diameter than what's currently on the 86. So the front is getting these. So now I gotta make sure I got all the bearings and everything I need to put this together. And I picked up these spindles from a guy online. They look pretty good. Looks like this one might have had a chewed up bearing on it at some point, but I'm gonna clean those up, put new seals and bearings and stuff on those, make sure I got everything before I tear the car apart. That's what my plan is. And you're gonna be here to watch the whole thing. You may be asking yourself, what parts are you using and where'd you get them from? That's a good question. Rock Auto. And if I could find the part number on the rotor, the front rotor is this part number, 120610026. That's the rotor. The rear bearing for that is Timken LM48510. The front bearing is Timken LM12710. Oil seal part number is, the national seal number is 9150S. That's the seal that goes right here. Got a glove fatality here. All right, the next thing we got to verify is caliper and strut. So the struts are different. I'm trying to remember what's different. Okay, this is what I think is different. The thickness of this, where the strut bolts onto, is thinner on the 87 and newer than it is on the 86 and older. So the car just so happened to need new struts anyways because it's bouncy. So let's unbox the struts, make sure they will go on that. Unbox the calipers and make sure they will bolt on the spindle as well. So that's right. Yeah, I know. You're probably wanting to know what the part number for the caliper is. The caliper is a Nugeon, Nugeon, however you say that. But it's 97-17837B. And then the other one is 99-17833A. It has got the pivot pins, but it is not loaded. So it's a rebuilt one. See, it's a factory Ford one. It has the bolt and it has the 2 slide pins, but it's not loaded. They look pretty nice though. Ooh, look at that. All right, we got to verify this gap matches the thickness of this. That's perfect. All right, so we know that's right. Next thing we need to check is brake pads for the front. Make sure that those are right. There you go. It's all loose, but there that is. So that's good, and we know the strut fits here. So the next thing is brake lines. We need to make sure the brake lines are right. So, yep, seemed right to me. So long as this matches up with the front, it's even got the little clip in there. That seems right, so that's good. Alright, here's what we're starting with. Factory size, I don't know if these are the actual original ones on the car, but factory size rotors, calipers, and then these ones are not factory. These should be racecraft, but they're not. They're Coney. You could tell the tire kind of rubs on them a little bit. But that's what we're going to be replacing, is this, and this. And hopefully the tie rods and all the rest of the stuff is good, because we didn't buy that. This nut won't come off. I'm using the torch to heat it up. That's good for the GoPro. So here's an 87 and newer spindle sitting next to a 1986 spindle. And Dad was just noticing some differences. This height of this is higher on the 87 and newer. And then this bolt pattern for this little dust shield thing for the bearing and the seal on the spindle is different bolt pattern. Was hoping to use this on the new one, but that's not gonna happen. And then the difference for the shock is this is the 86. That's 87. So bigger difference in thickness there. And then the caliper there's a 87 or newer caliper, and there's an 86. So similar, but differences with the thickness here and there. And these are both Ford ones. They both have the Ford casting in them. Other than that, they look similar. This one looks a little beefier in the front. And then the real comparison is this. It's 1 inch bigger diameter. We're going real big brake status here. We're going from a 10-inch rotor to an 11-inch rotor. Real serious.
You are knocking it out of the park.
Real serious business here. All right, we got that slid back in there. There's quite a bit of adjustment on this. So it looks like they basically just had it maxed out. So we're just gonna put it back to maxed out. Oh, what is that on the camera? That's gross. Now, I'm not the safety police or anything, but you know what drives me crazy is when people are spraying nasty stuff like this or grinding or using cutoff wheels or whatever and they don't have safety glasses on. I don't know, it just gives me anxiety. Anyways, I got mine on. Let's get these all cleaned up. All right, here's the first obstacle I ran into. When swapping 87 or newer brakes on the front of an 86, this is the caliper, or this is the brake line retainer. It doesn't fit. I mean, it's close, but it doesn't fit. So I don't have any way to stamp that out bigger. What I'm gonna do is use a step bit. Just drill that big enough so I could press that in there. And I'll put both of these little retainer clips on there. And then I'll just hold the back side of this with a wrench when I tighten the brake line in there. All right, I'm gonna turn the wheel. We gotta make sure we don't have any interference with those new brake lines. That also looks good. Trying to get all the crap out of this master cylinder. It's kind of gross in there. So I sucked all the old stuff out, put a little bit of new stuff back in there, using the brush to break it free, and keep doing that until it's clean. Alright, I think the front's done. Brandy just helped me bleed the brakes. So we got new rotors, wheel bearings with calipers, seals and everything, brake lines, struts, sway bar links. So that's the front. That's all I'm doing. I'm not doing the rest of that stuff because maybe one day I'll do a tubular K-member because I'm tubular, dude. That's it for this video. Next video you will see me doing my own alignment. Look at this fancy thing. Stuff going on, maths and geometry and archaeology and some other G's that they do and whatnot. So I'm gonna do the alignment, get the front all squared away, and then the back is getting Thunderbird disc brakes. Told you, all original factory Ford parts. Should be pretty sweet, but that'll be a separate video. Stay tuned.